We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Jason Weaver is in this morning for Josh Horn from Social Security, answering your questions, taking your calls, 737-7587. You know we do this every month, and this is a chance. I'll tell you, Jason, you've just been with us now for a while, and you've come here from Bowling Green, and we have been doing this Social Security show, for probably 20 years now. And we have had not a ton. It's been, there's been some turnover from Social Security, but folks there are stable, and they're just terrific. And what I love about this show, I know it isn't going to fit the niche for everyone who watches, but for the ones it does, I venture to guess we've helped thousands of people over the years. If not just educating them, helping them get their benefits. And so we really appreciate you guys coming on.
That's great.
Let's go to Carrie. Carrie, good morning. Hi, Carrie. How can we help you?
Hi. I just have one quick question.
Sure.
Years ago, I applied for Social Security disability, and I got denied for it, but I do receive SSI, and I have for several years.
Okay.
But my question is, once you get that, do you just stay on that, or is there a time where that does get switched over to the regular disability?
Okay, let me clarify real quick, and you'll have to explain this to me. So did you ever work in your life and put money into Social Security?
Yes, I did some.
Okay, so you did work, but you're saying you applied for that disability that you poured into, and then for whatever reason you didn't qualify for Social Security disability, but they put you on Social Security insurance, SSI.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, is that right? I mean, why would that
Makes
be?
sense to me.
Okay, explain that to me, because I thought SSI is for people that have a disability or something like that who have never paid into it.
Right.
She paid in. If she's disabled, she either qualifies for one or the other, but the disability is the same. So why is she not getting a Social Security disability instead?
So how it works for disability is it's a different set of rules for what we would consider to be an insured status.
Okay.
As individuals work and pay Social Security taxes year by year by year, they slowly but surely become insured. When we look at someone who is retirement eligible, they have to have worked at least 10 years or 40 quarters of coverage. Disability is a little bit different. You could have worked 10 years and paid in, but if you don't have 5 out of the last 10 years of earnings to be insured 20 out of the last 40 quarters for disability,
I see where you're going.
You may not be eligible for disability benefits with Social Security. That's why we have another program called Supplemental Security Income, what Carrie was just talking about, SSI. So for individuals who are not currently insured with disability, they can be eligible for SSI. Now down the road, if they've worked, they've paid in, and they're eligible for retirement, at 62, we'll convert them over to what their retirement benefit will be.
Automatically. Okay, that explains it. So she probably just didn't qualify. Had she worked enough, recent work, then she probably would have. And so the thing about SSI and the difference, SSI really is the safety net. It's what it is. In general, if you qualify for Social Security disability, you probably are going to get more money than you would for SSI. Is that a fair statement, or is that not accurate?
It's a fair statement. It also depends upon the individual.
Okay. Yeah.
So they could be working and they could be earning money and making money, but not paying enough in. Currently, the federal benefit rate for SSI is $783 a month. So if your disability benefit is less than that, you can be eligible for both Social Security disability and an SSI benefit.
Okay, you can combine. The other thing is the rules for SSI are much stricter in terms of if you do any type of work, if you have any kind of income or whatever, that immediately affects your SSI, whereas there are limits where you are able to work some on disability, correct?
Correct. Because the SSI program is a needs-based program, we'll go ahead and exclude the first $65 of any income that you have, and then we'll count your income dollar for $2 after that. So if you are making $1,000, we'll exclude $65 and then basically cut that in half and then reduce your check down by that much. And that sounds confusing because it is a little bit, and then when we actually count your income, depending upon if it's the month in which you earn it or 2 months down the road, it can be quite confusing.
Remind folks again, Social Security is drawn out of incomes up to how much? Is it what's the max? It's like Bill Gates makes $1 bazillion a year. But he's only taxed on Social Security up to, was it?
It's $137,700.
Once you cross that threshold and like more than that, anything above that is not taxed for Social Security anymore.
Correct. Not for Social Security. Medicare's different. They'll tax you all the way up. But for Social Security, the most we will tax you on is $137,700 in a year. That's that current. This is current year 2020.
Okay, and the benefit that you get when you retire, full retirement, is based on the top how many years of earnings?
35.
35. So if you were to make $137,000 or more over those 35 years, you would get what would be the maximum anyone could get for Social Security, which would be?
$3,011 a month.
That's the top of the heap. Technically the top of the heap.
Yes.
Now, that's what's so great about having a My Social Security page. You go on there, and I'm fascinated to go on. Used to be, you guys, in the older days, would send us a pamphlet that broke it down. Now, of course, it's all electronic. You can go on there and look at your history of earnings, going back to that first job you had, flipping burgers at the neighbor barbecue or whatever.
Correct.
And it's all on there, building up, and you can see, well, this year I did well, I lost my job there, and I didn't make much that year. And all of that is based and accumulates over the years toward your Social Security. I'm sorry, 30, how many years?
35.
35 years.
Top 35.
It's really kind of cool. I'm finally there. I've got 35 years in there. We'll see. Is there an average, one way or the other, on how much people draw for Americans in terms of? So is a typical check? And I know it varies, but you already said 3,000 is the top of it. In the middle, I'm trying to think. My folks, I think my mom and dad combined are drawing maybe a little over 2,000, 2,500, maybe.
That's about accurate. I want to say from a figure that, if I'm just calling from memory here, it's roughly around $1,270 something a month. I believe that's the national average for what a benefit check is from Social Security currently.
Interesting. All right, let's take some more calls. We'll go to Dan. Dan, good morning. Hi, Dan.
Good morning.
How can we help you?
I have a question about spousal Social Security. Is that what it's called?
Spousal benefits.
Yes, spousal benefits. You got it.
Thank you. My situation is I started drawing Social Security at 62, mostly because I don't understand the system, so I figured I'm just going to get into it. Now, my wife will turn 62 here at the end of this year, and she's going to stop working and start drawing. She's going to retire. What does spousal benefits have to do with that circumstance, if at all? And I'll hang up and turn up the volume on the TV.
You got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
So with spousal benefits, we'll go ahead and take a look at your spouse's earnings. We'll take a look at her top 35 years. We'll see if she has what we call a primary insured amount. This is the amount that everyone has if they are insured with benefits with Social Security. And we'll take a look at that figure. If that figure for her is less than half of what your primary insured amount is, then she'll be able to go ahead and draw some benefits off of your record depending upon the money amounts. If hers is more than 50% of half of yours, then she'll draw benefits off of her own record. At 62, she would not have the ability to go ahead and decline her benefits and then solely draw off of your record. With the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015, they got away from individuals being able to decline their own benefit to allow theirs to grow and receive delayed retirement credits. Now, if you are filing for a benefit with Social Security, you're required to take your benefit first and then make up any difference off of a spouse's benefit.
Okay, I can see how that makes sense. So, by the way, he's taken his. He said he took his early. She at 62 taking it now. Would that be early too?
That is early. 62 is the first point in time where you can take your benefit.
And I don't know. He said, and Dan, I don't know what your thinking was that went into that, but if you didn't understand, I assume maybe you are no longer working, and so you chose to take your benefit, which is entirely fine. But on the other hand, just keep in mind, you retire at 62. You get it earlier. If you were to have waited until 67, is that what it'd be maybe for him? I don't know how old he was. But
right now, I believe, depending upon their birthday, probably 66 in maybe 4 or 6 months.
So if you had the means and ability, and maybe you were still working and didn't need the money right then to work until 66 or whatever, you would get a lot more money. I'm stunned at how much more you get if you just wait till full retirement. And I know some people have no choice, and Dan may not have, and his wife may want to retire now, and she may have other savings that go with it. Take it early, good for you. But if it's not a problem and you can put it off, let me just tell you, you get a lot more money if you wait till full retirement. If it's not, you think, well, it's just 4 years, and we're talking about more than 30 years of earnings. That 4 years, you take it early, costs you 25% of what you might have got. That's a chunk of change. Again, sometimes you have no choice, you go for it. But if you can wait, it's in your interest to wait, provided you think you're going to live that long too, you know? Or who knows?
Gambling.
Let's go to Bernice. Hi, Bernice. How can we help you, Bernice?
Oh, hi, I have a question.
Sure.
I recently turned 66, but I did start disability because medical reasons. And I was wondering, is disability payments, because now they said that they're switching me over to Social Security. So is disability payments the same as Social Security payments were? Because I was under the impression, I mean, I've been working since I was 11, but I just haven't worked in this last, well, I have worked prior time.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking that my Social Security benefits should have been more than the disability payments that I've received.
Oh, okay, yeah, because when she does get full retirement, it's just going to switch and she'll not have to do anything. So is she right? Could it be more?
More than likely, your disability benefit is going to be your full retirement benefit. And if we're switching you over, it's basically just an administrative function for us. And we no longer will look at your work, we'll no longer look at your earnings to determine if you're eligible for a benefit. It's just we're switching you from disability to retirement. It's just something internal.
And the amount she was getting on disability, because she did work, was based on the amount of money to some degree that she earned over her career.
Correct.
It's not SSI she's on Social Security disability, and that's why it just transitions. It will not be more.
Right.
When she gets that. So
that's
the answer on that. I understand why she was asking. She doesn't have to do anything. It's going to naturally just switch, but she will not see an increase in her check. All right, let's go next to Mike. Mike, good morning. Hi, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Your previous caller, Nick, just kind of dovetailed into my question. I took my full benefit at 66, but I want to go back to work and then turn it off. Can I then still qualify for the additional 8% a year until I turn 70 and then turn it back on, or is that too late?
I believe it's too late. I'd have to double check our policy.
Question,
I don't have that before us right now. Right now, not in front of me. If you want to contact our office, I'll have somebody look that up.
Okay,
I'm
so
not 100% sure on that.
His question, and I think I've heard Josh reference this before, and I think you may be right. I'm not sure he can do that, but I think what he's asking is that he took it early, and now he's thinking, you know, I want to stop drawing on this. I'm going to go back to work, and maybe allow that to build back up so I can get more of my benefit later if I postpone my retirement. Is that kind of what you're saying? I hope I got that right.
Along those lines. I believe what people used to do is they would file at 66. They would then go ahead and suspend their benefit so that because they filed that application, a spouse could then file.
Oh.
They changed that with the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015. So people can no longer do that. Now, if you want to go ahead and suspend your benefit to allow it to grow, I'm trying to recall from memory here, but I believe there wouldn't be any. It would not be advantageous for you to do so.
Okay, so maybe just keep drawing as he's doing that. Okay, but he can go back to work if he wants.
Of course, make whatever he wants.
Yeah. Good question, and you know, when they come back on again in a week, or you can make the call, or next month rather, we'll try to answer that for you. That's an interesting one.
It is.
I thought we've gotten that once before with Josh, and that's the way I recall it, but I want to get him the best information. Let's go next to ML. ML, good morning. Hi, ML.
Yes, Nick, I'd like to ask the question because I think you just confused me. I was under the impression that everybody has money taken out of their check for Social Security regardless of how much you make. I just heard something about the $137,000. So what I'm hearing from you is that people like athletes who make millions and all, they don't have Social Security taken out of their check?
Oh, they do, up to $130,000. But if you're making $1 million, only the first $130,000 is Social Security.
I see. So, but they can apply once they reach. Also, once they reach
sure.
62 or 65, but you only counted up to that $137,000 that they're making.
That's correct.
That's right. It's interesting because I'm glad you called. I was the same way. I didn't know that really. I was kind of surprised. I just thought Social Security came out like some other things that come out. But as he made it clear, and a lot of people argue, I mean, does Bill Gates really need Social Security? Well, he paid into it, so he's entitled to it. But it's like these athletes, you're right. Derrick Henry probably next year is going to sign a contract for, who knows, $20 million a year or whatever. Well, that $20 million, only $137,000 will have his Social Security taxes taken out like everyone else. And when he gets of retirement age, even though we know he'll have a ton of money in the bank, it's his right to go ahead and apply for those benefits that were taken out up to that $137,000. So yeah, everyone pays Social Security, but only up right now to $130,000. And for a long time, I didn't know that either. I thought everyone just paid on everything you earned. It's only up to $137,000. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more of your phone calls right after this.